בתי כנסת בניגריה, בתי כנסת גדולים ויפים.
הוא נמצא בארץ ישראל.
אני נמצא בארץ ישראל, אבל
יש שם 55 בתי כנסיות. שם, באיפה שהכושים גרים.
אפריקה.
באפריקה.
והם אומרים שהם שייכים לשבטים.
הם אומרים שהם שייכים לעשרת השבטים.
זה אומר שהם עושים בריס מילה, והם עושים שבס, יש להם מקווה,
יש להם ספר תורה.
ספר תורה.
זה בית כנסת מגן אברהם. אבל יש להם פה בית כנסת מגן אברהם.
יש להם ספר תורה גביל. גבילים.
יש להם, הם טוענים שהם משבט אפרים, שבט גד, וממש שומרים תורה ומצוות כמונו. רק מה, הם מוכנים להתגייר.
מה שמוכנים להתגייר?
הם מוכנים להתגייר, והשאלה שלנו האם בכלל לעזור להם או לדחות אותם.
השאלה היא לעזור להם או לדחות אותם.
גיור לחומרה.
הם מוכנים לעשות גיור לחומרה.
צריך לעזור להם? כן.
So we're sitting here with Rabbi Pinhas Eliyahou of Botsina Kadisha here in the Old City, Rosh Hashiva, and we're discussing the situation with a lot of our brothers that are in Africa, specifically Nigeria, and the Jewish traditions that have existed there for thousands of years, and the tradition that goes all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu. As you just saw before, we just had we saw a conversation with Rabbi Kanievsky, and he's discussing the same exact issue. And so we're going to ask Rabbi Pinhas Eliyahou, what is his perspective on giving us a little bit of history on the background of the Jews in Nigeria and their history and their lineage connected to Moshe Rabbeinu.
Mordechai, for your wonderful idea to try to react and to give our position and our understanding from what Rabbi Kanievsky said for maybe now more than 5 years, because it was in 2016, about the situation of our fellows, our brothers in Nigeria. Yes, we see that in the video, they are surprised to see 55 Bati Knesiot people keeping the Shabbat, wearing talit, singing the song of the Torah, having also some tools like Sifrei Torah, reading Tehillim, and keeping holiness. And we know that Gemara said, someone who is not fulfilled by the Jewish sparks cannot do a single mitzvah. So it means a lot when you have thousands and thousands of people doing the same thing at the same time and repeating every day. So from that purpose, from that position, we are obliged to say that we have to know that the origin of the presence of Torah in Africa is not only from the relationship, and we have machloket even in that case between Shlomo HaMelech and Malkat Sheva, the Queen of Sheba, but we do know that Moshe Rabbeinu himself, because before he started his mission as a Mashiach of Israel, he was a king in the land of Cush, not the land only, the empire of Cush, for 40 years. And many times people just squeeze that aspect. What does this situation really mean? In many other situations, in many other Jewish story and history, we do accept the fact that the population followed the faith and the cultural decision of the king. So if Moshe, after 9 years being with the soldier and the king of Cush, and once the king of Cush died, they decided to make of him the king and to marry even the queen, and stood with them 40 years, for sure all that people, let's not talk about numbers, they adopt and accept all the things he was taught when he was connected to his people of Israelites. So we have here roots that Moshe, being in the continent of Africa, brought that mindset, that idea, that ethics, that morality that we can see a lot in African population. From that moment, And now we have to know that we do have a real tradition in Africa, oral tradition, because we didn't wrote it down. Basically, let's say we don't fail at that level to write down what should be oral. And we see it on the people's behavior. You see that there is a high level of morality, high level of respect, high level of consideration. And they are proof. This is proof. So the Igbos and some other countries also, they are the extension, the results of that transmission century after century. Since then, I'm pretty sure.
So the person who's looking at it on the outside is saying the question, like, how could people keep a tradition for thousands of years and be autonomous and the world not know about them? The world doesn't know that there's over 50 million people that are in Nigeria that are keeping the Torah, that are keeping the Manhagim and doing independent of any outside community. How does a person who's watching this and hearing about this for the first time, how do they comprehend that when they've been taught that they haven't seen any association with Judaism in Africa at all? It's mostly been, well, let's just be clear, there's idea of it being in Yemen, like Morocco, places in maybe even Egypt, you have, Ramban, different people like this. So how do we understand Central Africa, the West Coast of Africa, and they also have this Jewish tradition as well?
Yes, you're right. I think the answer is what I started to say at the beginning. Sometimes people make choice about the way to see and to understand history. We have to let's say the truth. We know that all aspects about history and politics, it's always a choice of what you want to see and how you want to see it. We saw this video from Rav Kanievsky from 2016.
Yeah.
What's happened since then? No communication, no official speech about that, no action, no desire to do things. And meaning, we always try to show what we want to show. And this is the purpose of our Bet Midrash, Shiva Botsina Kadisha. We are telling to people, we do have tradition, we do have wisdom from sage of the lands of Ham. They are always surprised. What is land of Ham? You have sages? Yes, we have sages. What is the sages? How you can prove it. Look, after 1,000 years, you still have traditions.
Yeah.
You still have tribes keeping and holding very strongly that they are Jew. And even if they are ready to convert, because the question asked to Rav Kanievsky, I said, just do the Humrah. I mean that one of the biggest change of the generation is admitting that people in Nigeria, they have Jewish sparks. They are not foreign souls, what you have to bring totally. They are just Jew with the holy sparks that you need to reconnect to the modern Judaism. What is modern Judaism? Not the modernity, no. What is Judaism now? Because we know everything is a question of who is holding the power. And the power today, let's say, is from what's happening in Israel, what's happening in America, what's happening in England, in fact, the big countries where we form rabbis, we form sage in a certain view. But all this time, we do have people standing in Africa and keeping this like a real tradition. It's not me saying. We have that famous letter of the student of the Gra in the time when Sfat writing a letter to the lost tribe. You can find it on the Sefaria for this one to follow. We'll put the link maybe. He's writing to the king of Israel living in the other side of the river of Nubia. And he said, we know that you are the sons of Moshe. That's why we connected to Moshe putting his feet on the lands of Africa, Afriki. And after he said, you are holy and pure. You are the student of the Gra. If you talk about holiness and purity, for sure, sparks, mitzvot, and midot are there. So I will just say, make it simple, it's better to focus on what we can do now, what we have to do now to bring all of this up, than to talk about all the mistakes or the the laziness of those who knew, but just keep quiet.
So what are the biggest ideas that I think all Jews can connect to, specifically Jews in Israel, even Jews in Husaras, but specifically Jews in Israel, is that every Jew wants protection. Every Jew wants to see the bringing of the Mashiach. How important is it to be able to establish functional communities that abide by the halakot that have been given to us, the yeshiva gives? How important is it for the Jews in Nigeria to have this halakot, to have even additional trainings and additional support, and as it relates to the bringing of the total geula? Because we were taught that the idea is to say that the second temple, the temples were destroyed to send Jews out into the world to reclaim the sparks,
yes,
to bring those sparks back to Bnei Israel, because that is a yesod, a foundational point for bringing the geula. So how important is it?
It's what you say is very crucial, because we have two levels of answer in your question. The first one, I will call it the external part. We have to know that we as Jewish nation, like Jewish people, we have to be all agoyim. We have to be a light for the people of the world. So how can I be a light for the people of the world in the 21st century? It's like this. We have to respect the authority and the country where our brothers are standing, even if they need Gihut Lechumra. What does it mean? All the country that we know now, like France, America, England, where you have big Jewish community, how did they get that position so important till we will say the best rabbis come from America, the best rabbi come from Morocco? It's because the country where the Jewish were living and establishing their Ruchaniyut made place for Jew. They give to them place to exist as a community, included in all the citizens of that countries. We see that in that point, the African country are disrespect. We, as Botsina Kadisha, want to respect that. That's why everywhere we open an office, we contact the authority to say just one simple thing. You have Jewish, or you have people claiming that they are Jewish, or you have people who have a deep desire to convert to Judaism standing on your authority. Please, just make it official. Create structure that will bring you to know who you are talking to, who are the representative of that religion, that faith in your country. This is the very first steps. Why? Like this, the speech of the Jews, of the Jew who are going to convert in that country, become official. Like this, people see and understand we are not here to bring craziness in the country, but we are here to be a full part of the evolution and the construction of the country. And to make this happen, we have to start something before. It's what we are doing for now 1 year and a half, to give more and more teaching about Alachot and Musa to all the, how can I say it, to all the lost tribes. I'm not saying it. Rav Kanievsky is confirming it by saying that they just need Gihut Lechumra. We have to give more Alachot, we have to give more Musa, because like this, the conversion will be solid. This is all the purpose of the Eliezer Program.
So Rabbi, I think we could close out the video on this, but I think going into the Eliezer Program, the details of that and how that is directly connected to helping Jews in specifically Africa establish halakhic-based, rabbinic Judaism-based communities that are exactly in line with the Shulchan Aruch and all the standards of Jewish community. How does that program that you guys have launched here at Botsina Kadisha fit into that goal?
I will use one of your favorite term expression is Black Jewish excellence, because we paid attention that when Jews convert, all the convert, many problems come before, during, and even after. You feel a part without being a part. And when you're Black or from Africa or for Black ascendants, let's say, it's harder for many reasons. the place you will have to find to study, the woman you will desire to marry, the man you will desire to her to marry. It's always harder. And the best way to fight the hatred or to fight the racism or to fight the misunderstanding of our Torah is to bring it at a high level of understanding the speech and the talk of our sages. That's why we said we have to multiply hours of study. It's not enough to study only 2 hours per week and to say after 1 year, I'm Jew, I will be involved in the community. No, people build their community according to 2 things: the knowledge they have and also the culture of the country we came from. So what we try to do, we try to focus on these people who are from Africa, or which have some African ascendants, or everyone else who's interested. We give more tools to understand how important you are. It's not to say good words to make your art harder. No, it's just to break down what Rabbi Nechunya ben Akane says in his book, Torah Takane, about why do we have the obligation to love the convert. He said, because that convert is in his soul, you will never find the impurity of the golden calf. He said, that's why it deserves to be loved more than you from birth. So if we understand that, we have to give that kind of information to people who want to reconnect when it's lechumra, want to connect when it's gevut mamash. Like this, when you came, you not come with the purpose of, I have to try to be at their level. No, you have to keep the level you came with and to bring them up. This is what we try to do with Eliezer Program. That's why we give additional tools. When we study Musa, we're not going in the Musa people think, we go with Shai Kedusha. It's the Musa of Sod, where you understand why the values are so important even in your daily life connected to mitzvot. When you go with the halachot, we go on the Ben Ish Chai. We want to understand the halacha in his depth. Not to say, okay, just do it, you just no. People think that Naaseh v'nishma, it's illogical. You have to study deeper. No one in this world will let you make a surgery operation on him and you say, after I will learn how to do medicine. You want to open my body as a doctor? Study first medicine. What do we understand from Naaseh v'nishma? Naaseh is Olam Asya. Nishma is Olam Bria, meaning that you have to understand that Nishma is higher than Naaseh. So hear and understand before to do. But if you remove such from your learning, you think that Naaseh is the first step. No, it's the final step of everything we have to do. But to understand and to study is most important. So that's why we give big tools. Understand the mitzvot in the depth. See how you connect and how important is the responsibility after conversion, and bring it high. And Baruch Hashem, we have people convert through our tools support. We don't convert, we bring a kind of help during your way to conversion to the official places that exist. But when they finish the conversion, the level is serious. Serious. So this is the program.
And so the program, you know, just hearing this, it's like, if my background is Sephardic or my background is Ashkenaz, at the end of the day, if we're Shomer Shabbos and we're keeping the halacha of being a Jew, this issue of having tens of millions of Jews, 50 million Jews, just in one particular place in Africa, and having these people having a tradition, a Masurah, of keeping the Torah, of keeping, you know, the idea of Shabbat, having Sefer Torahs, reading Tehillim, these different, and then having a desire to even want more. This is a crucial part to the safety of the entire Jewish community, because without bringing these sparks back, this is where anti-Semitism has strength. This is where division amongst us as Jews happens. This whole thing comes from the fact that there's lost sparks that have not been retrieved yet. And so this is not just an issue just for Botsina Kadisha and the mission, but this is an issue for the entire Jewish world as a whole, that our protection and our relationship with Hashem has solely to do with our ability, until the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt, to retrieve as many of the lost sparks and elevating them. And from there, Hashem will decide what to do. I guess maybe my last question is what would be, in your opinion, the best way to facilitate a dynamic of Gershom for millions and millions of people. I don't know if this has ever existed before in Jewish history.
Yes. You're right about everything you summarized before. The first thing is, like we said before, the 6 years passed since the video have been done. What did we saw from the information we have from the pitch? Nothing happened. They fight to get their Sefer Torah, to get their Talidot, they fight for everything. So first thing is, we as institution and all the institutions who will be interested, we have to start the work. The first level is to teach, for sure. After, we have to know that people think in the very wrong way, that all the purpose of the African being recognized as Jewish or being converted will be to run straight to Israel and to invade. This is politics. You know, sometimes people live their life where they are and they just want to live, to be officially part of the people of Israel. So we have to know that the people who are converting or wants to be Jews, they will be like you and me. The day I convert from France, yes, I had a desire to come in Israel, but you have to make it happen. You have family, you have business. It's not like this. You desire something, but what you can do, there's nothing to do with invasion. It's a false argument to say that we have to keep them away, because how will we handle all these people? This is the first thing. The second one is, we have to bring Rav Kanievsky and other rabbis you see in the video. They have to come and sit here and to exchange with us. We have to find a solution how to make the conversion happen, even when Nigeria will call them and say, we are also our Jew, and we want them to be Nigerian. So find a way. So we are working, Bezrat Hashem, working with the countries. Maybe they will be accepting the idea of making Judaism a full part of religion in their country. And from that moment, we'll be obliged to create structure and tools, being able to convert on the place. Because the big problem every time that we want to make their religion official, they receive the simple answer, no, you have to travel. You have to go in Israel, you have to go in America, you have to go in England. Sorry, I have to handle my daily food first before I put money on the side to travel. Yeah. So we have to help them to make their coming back, because it's Humrah. We have to help them to make it easy. It should be in front of their door, 10-minute walk. I have here one bed deal standing with rabbis, recognized from all the Jewish movement all over the world that are handling. We are already giving the shiurim. Like this, the day people will be ready to make this happen, they will be not ready, super ready.
Yeah. So I guess we heard it all. We're very clear. We want to help establish, empower people that just want to be Jewish, people that just want to cry out to God, and we want to do the Shabbat properly, that want to be able to daven properly in their own communities, in their own land, and empowering their own lands. And this is what Botsina Kadisha is doing. And it's not just an issue for Botsina Kadisha and people in Nigeria. This is an issue for the entire Jewish community. That there's millions and millions of people that have a tradition going all back to Moshe Rabbeinu. There's students from the Gra who've been writing letters from the centuries before. We have Rav Kanievsky, who's been speaking about it 4 years ago, 2016, 5 years ago. And now we have an institution here that's been working over the last few years on this particular issue, but this is a Jewish issue, and arguably the Geula is not going to happen for any of us until this situation is rectified in Nigeria.
Yes, without Hashem, we are sending to see some rabbis very soon to make physical work, to make physical what we did for Zoom and many other tools since 1 year and a half. So now I think Mordechai will be among the people traveling. So Bezrat Hashem, news are coming, and we have to move forward. Bezrat Hashem. Shalom, shalom.
Tribe, Bantus, all the scattered sparks about to roll back through. Rabbi Pinhas, Botsina Kadisha, call Yisrael on the link.